Hey guys, it is Gem Warrior, and once again, it's very dark in this video. I'm telling you guys, I just do not live with the lights on, I just don't. But anywho, I just got in from work this morning, and thought I would make a video with a very small amount of free time that I have today. Because it is time for another ytpaganchallenge challenge. And this week's challenge is about the sun, and even though it is thunderstorming outside right now as I speak, which, I don't know, you might hear it at some point. Because when I just got in, it was like, it was thundery. Anywho, we're going to talk about the sun anyway, today. And I've been really excited to talk about the sun. Because, I think, like, pretty much all of us, as soon as we decided to do this challenge, we immediately went and looked at all of the topics. And, picked ones that we were like, oh my god, I can't wait to talk about that. And, also, sorry if this is shaky, because I'm holding the camera. But yeah. So, I've been really excited to talk about this week's, because the sun has been very influential on me. I smoothed over the moon a little bit last week. Did you hear that? That was thunder. I don't know if you heard that, but it was like, there it goes again. Anyway, sorry. But, I smoothed over the moon a little bit. And, I did say it was important to me, and I gave some examples. But, it just hasn't been as influential on me in my path as much as the sun. And I know some more traditional pagans always say, well, Jim, that's because you're male, and because, the moon is female energy, and the sun is male energy. And, I just don't believe in that crap. Like, you can totally assign those genders to the sun and moon, but I think it's ludicrous to assign genders to the sun and moon. But I don't want to offend anyone, so let me step back a little bit. And anywho, the sun. How has it been influential on my paganism, on my path, on my witchcraft, on my hoodoo, on this eclectic path that I'm on? Well, it has been very, 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 very necessary and helpful on my path in terms of mental health and emotional stability. I talk about this in a lot of videos that I make, usually in passing, but my whole life I have struggled with depression. Sorry, I got a little choked up saying that. But depression. And I know I'm not alone in that. I mean, a lot of people struggle with depression. And if you have depression or have someone that you is close to you that has depression, it's much deeper than unhappiness. It's not just sadness. It's deeper than that. And whereas, like, sadness goes away and you're happy again, depression never truly goes away. There is no cure for depression. There is just treatments for depression. And you treat it for the rest of your life. Depression doesn't go away. It's not curable. Womp womp. But so, I was on antidepressants from the ages of 7 to maybe 8, actually, to 17 or 18. So, like, 10 years. And it wasn't because I was depressed. I was on antidepressants as a treatment for Tourette's syndrome, which a lot of people know Tourette's through all of the jokes that people make about Tourette's. But this isn't a video about Tourette's, so. Or depression, really. So, the sun. But anywho, when I got of age, around 18 or 17, probably 17 because that's when I moved out on my own, officially, but that's a much deeper, sadder story. Anyway, when I got out on my own and was able to make decisions for myself and not have to answer to anyone, I decided that I didn't want to be on medications anymore for anything. I wanted to be as holistic as possible. This is when I went vegan, and I was like a super health food nut, and also like medicine. Like, just I tried to be as natural and live as naturally as possible, for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years after high school. So, I was like an extreme naturalistic mode, like holistic mode, and that meant no antidepressants. So I did try a few herbs, but what I found to be the most helpful was working with solar energy. At first, it was starlight, which, I mean, the sun is a star, but you know what I mean. So at first, it was starlight, and I worked with stars because, again, I've always been a nighttime person. I've always loved the dark, and so I worked with starlight a lot. And then it gradually, as I got a little more happier and started exposing myself to the daytime, I worked with the sun. And then that was like someone just threw the roof off on my terms of like my life. When I started working with the sun, it was like explosive. Like the energy was just like, this is kind of a pun, but it just shed light on everything within myself, you know? It was incredibly powerful for me. And I worked with the sun on its own, but I also worked with a deity associated with the sun, which was Apollo Belenus, which I talked about in our challenge about your matron and patron, which I kind of used to extend. I extended that video kind of to talk about more than just my matron and patron, and so that included Apollo Belenus, which was a merging of a Celtic god Bel and the well, however you want to label it, really Greco-Roman, but the Greek god Apollo. It was a merging of those two gods, which I didn't make up. They merged those. That's in history. You can go look it up. Apollo Bel or Apollo Belenus. But I worked with him, and that really helped me draw myself out of depression. I made a lot of sun charms and amulets and talismans and etc. labels for things like that. But I did, and I still have several of them around my home. You can't really see it because it's so dark, but on my lamp right there, I have a star. It's like an ornament. That was the first thing I bought. That I was like, I'm gonna make a sun charm to bring me happiness, and so I rubbed it in cinnamon and like bay leaves because that's what's sacred to Apollo, and actually laurel, but I digress. But so I did it. I made this charm, and every time I felt sad, I would touch it and imagine like what I called solar energy, which really just looked like plasma, you know, like the surface of the sun. I would imagine that being pulled from out of the charm and going into my body, and it made me feel really happy. And so I just did that over and over and over. It became this subconscious habit that whenever I felt sad, I would just go grab that amulet, go touch that amulet, and just building that habit of like allowing happy energy to come into me really really helped me deal with my anxieties and my depression and everything, and it helped me become a lot more stable. And then later on, I got it's actually right above me right now. I got several stars, if you can see those, and a big sun. It's metal, kind of wall hanging, and that was just to kind of serve as a reminder of, you know, happiness, because that's what the sun does mean to me now. It's a metaphor for joy and happiness, and God, I always get so emotional in these videos. But yeah, that's what the sun has done for me in my practice. It's very much been like my doctor. It's been my mental and emotional backbone. I really I really love the sun. And as for like the phases of the sun, or like eclipses, or like sunrise, sunset, high noon, and all that. I don't really work with that in my practice. It's like I said in the moon video last week. I don't really worry about correspondences of any kind in my practice. I just work very instinctively, and that goes with the sun. And so sometimes it matches up to what people accept, like in a book about, what you should be doing for the spell, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't worry about any kind of how will the sun correspond to my spell. I just work with it if it feels right. I'm like, oh, I should put the sun in this. But for the most part, that's how I work with the sun. I work with it for emotional and mental health. So that's my input for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to watch you guys's with the like 20 minutes I have left for the day. For the day must begin. And anywho, because I haven't watched any for this week yet. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna upload this one, I'm gonna go do that. And yeah, you guys, I can't wait to watch yours. Namaste, Nashe, and peace out, Girl Scouts.